Hello? Testing. Testing. Max, I'm talking to the TV. I'm talking to the TV. Hello? I'm not surprised that nobody's here. I did not announce this show, but welcome to the program. This is the Above It All brogram, actually. That's I'm entering the brosphere, So this is the brogram for all the bros out there. Is this thing? Wait, okay. Hello. I'm doing a show today. Once again, actually, if you can believe it, I'm doing 2 in a row. And today is day 2 out of 15. I will be doing 15 of these programs. So, stay tuned. We're on number 2, and I'm already out of things to talk about. Today we're going to be actually covering some news, I guess. I think. Maybe. I'm not sure, actually. We might. I got to set that up, actually. I forgot. I have a whole new back end here. I got to set this horse fucking shit up. Give me a second. We got Looney Tunes, we got Gary, we got Max the Dog Appreciator #1, which is a false username, of course. Tyler Hackner and Fg. Got to be careful when I pronounce that one. Don't want to get in trouble. Actually, I can say it. I'm allowed to say it. I'm allowed if I want. Just so happens that I do not want to. But I could. I'm setting up this horse shit, by the way. Just give me a fucking second. Give me a fucking goddamn second. This horse fucking shit. I don't even know how to do this anymore. Okay, let's just put that there. Yeah, okay. Is this, fuck. Is this, is it? Nope. Okay, and then, alright, now I'm back. I've returned. Welcome. We got Mila. How's it going, Mila? Doing a show today. In case you didn't know, I'm doing a show. Today, actually, is when the show is happening. Today I'm going to be doing a program. We're going to be talking about news today. If anyone has anything that they would like to hear... Doing a program today, everybody. So if anyone has anything to ask or you want me to talk about, feel free to post that your desires, and I will see if I get to it if I can, if I remember, and I'm not in the middle of a rant. Feel free to also go watch yesterday's showgram if you want. That's possible. You could do it. And I want to talk about some stuff today, actually. That's what I was planning on, anyway. I was planning on talking about stuff. You ever think about, like, websites? Look at this. So I'm on, I'm looking at Forbes right now. I got this article here. What is going on with this website? So we have this, like, ad here from Miley Cyrus. And then look at all this blank white space here. Wouldn't it be great if the text was bigger so that you could fucking read it? So let's zoom in. That's right. If you didn't know, if you hold control and use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in. But I'm zooming in, and as you can see, this fucking white bar on the right is still there. What kind of fucking web design is this fucking shit? Now, if you keep zooming in, now the text is not, it's cut off. What the fuck? So I will not be covering this article from Forbes today. It's talking about polling and how basically all the pollsters are fucking stupid. But I will not be using that article today. Maybe tomorrow I'll look at that article, but I can't handle it right now. So let's talk about Joe Biden. Does anyone remember Joe Biden? Does anyone remember that guy? Here's my this is how I got it set up here. The above it all logo is not even visible, so that's great. I'm just gonna put that there. You know, I don't give a shit about the layout. Look at this. This is what we're got. So we're days before the election, y'all. And this is what we're talking about. And by we, I mean me, because I wanted to mention this. Apparently, there was a rally, if you want to call it that. If you want to call it a rally, in New York, and some guy called Puerto Ricans garbage. Now, apparently it was a joke. According to reports, it was a joke. But also, all the Republicans are extremely racist and hate all brown people. So I really don't think it was a joke. But anyway, the next day, Joseph Robinette did the best thing he's done as president since dropping out of the race, and he called all Trump supporters garbage. Or did he? Or did he call all Trump supporters garbage? We're about to find out. Or at least ABC is going to let us know. White House altered transcript of Biden garbage comment despite stenographer concerns. Holy fuck. It's literally 1984. Literally 1984. I would even go a step further and say it's also, in addition to, figuratively, 1984. That's not good. Quote, serious concerns. And I'm glad that that's in quotes, by the way. Can we talk about how Donald Trump would throw out White House documents every day? He would burn. He had an incinerator in the Oval Office. He would burn White House documents that were supposed to be archived, because that's just, we have laws in this world. He would burn them all. He would fire people for writing things that he didn't want in the transcripts. He would strike things from records all the time. He would hunt down documents and get them burned post hoc. But no, guys. We got serious concerns. Now, you might be wondering, what are the serious concerns? What was the alteration? Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I read this article already. I already know the ending of this article. But if you haven't kept up with this, you're thinking, okay, what's the alteration? Did they say a word? Did they just create words that Joe Biden didn't actually say? Did they make it seem like he didn't call Trump supporters garbage or something? And did they add the clarification into the transcript and then note, later on Biden said, let's find out, okay? Serious concerns are being raised by the White House Stenography Office over what it is called a breach of protocol in distributing an edited transcript of President Joe Biden's controversial garbage comment that former President Donald Trump seized on, and Vice President Kamala Harris had to distance herself. Now, I get why Harris would distance herself, but I just want to say, this is the best fucking goddamn thing Biden has done. When it comes to Republicans, this is the best fucking thing Biden has done. Let's be honest here. Yes, they are garbage. Like her or hate her, Hillary Clinton had a good point when she called those motherfuckers a basket of deplorables. Now, a basket? I don't know where the fuck that came from, but they're definitely deplorable. I would go as far as to say they're garbage. If you self-identify as a Republican, you are trash. I consider you to be subhuman. You're not even in the same species as me. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I know that you feel the same way, right? So maybe we can agree to disagree or agree to agree, right? Issues were pointed out in an email. Now, again, what was the change, right? What was the change? Issues were pointed out in an email from the stenography office to White House press and communication officials obtained and reviewed by ABC News and first reported by the app. Biden's gaffe, I wouldn't call it a gaffe, drew the fury of Republicans over comments he made on Tuesday night's Voto Latino campaign call. By the way, at this New York rally, they had a speaker say that all Democrats are degenerates. All Democrats. This guy, this bald fucker, was like, it's a party of degenerates. And now these motherfuckers are hand-wringing, right? But of course they're lying. It's all rhetorical, tactical games to manipulate the stupid, undecided voters in the middle that control our country, by the way. which seemed to refer to Trump supporters as garbage, and happened as Harris was delivering her high-profile campaign closing message on the ellipse near the White House. Now, I just want to say that the only reason that this is a thing is to distract from Kamala's argument, her closing argument thing or whatever. Maybe I'll watch that speech on stream like tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure. By the way, I do plan on voting tomorrow. Is anyone voting out there? We'll talk about that later. Quote, just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or a Puerto Rican where I'm from. In my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done. Everything we've been. Isn't it kind of fun to read a Biden transcript, but like, you know, just reading the transcript is pretty fun. I don't know. So you might be thinking, okay, so that's what he said. What do we got here? What was the addition, or rather the edit, I should say? Addition, you know, E-D-I-T-I-O-N, right? Am I right, people? The stenography office transcript reflected that the president told those on the call, the only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters, blah, blah, blah. The published White House version has apostrophe, by the way, in supporters. That's the change. They added an apostrophe. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I think it's a good idea for them to change or edit transcripts, but this is not an edit to the transcript. It's not. It's not. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not. They added a fucking apostrophe. They didn't change the words. He still said the same thing. But you can argue, right? Well, how do we know he really meant supporters with an apostrophe at the time, or he meant supporters without an apostrophe at the time? How do we know what he meant, right, at the time? I would argue we don't know what he meant. So, as a result, what? You know, who cares? But anyway, Republicans are hand-wringing over this. It's a bunch of garbage, and I wanted to move on. I really, like, one thing that I feel about when it comes to participating in elections discourse, I mean, is it really, like, this season, you know, I would say I'm a victim. I'm a victim of seasonal depression. But even more so when it comes to election cycles, I get even more depressed. Because, again, it's so brutally honest in this country, and are so brutally, I'm a little intoxicated. And it's brutally something. I can't think of the word. That most Americans are fundamentally stupid and gullible. Clear. That's the word. It's very clear. Just like plexiglass. Think about it in the terms of, like, ad campaigns. Donald Trump has been running for president for God knows how many fucking years at this point. I lost count. The idea that we're spending millions of dollars on ads, television commercials, targeted at the dumbest 1% of the country, undecided swing voters. We're spending billions of dollars, if you add in all the campaigns together, president, senate, you know, on convincing 1% of the country that just also so happens to be the dumbest percent of the country, whether you should vote for neoliberalism or Adolf Hitler. Now, like, I know. This is the, you know, we sign up. Well, we didn't actually. I didn't sign up to be in this experiment. But, you know, this is the world we live in. You know, we got to make do with what we got here. But really, it is so fundamentally depressing to me that so much money is wasted on garbage just to fucking convince 1%, the dumbest 1%, the dumbest sliver of Americans, to either vote for Adolf Hitler or not Adolf Hitler. Crazy ass shit, man. Like, I really, But then even worse than that is the toxic discourse. I find that politics is almost, if not entirely, impossible to discuss during election years, presidential election years anyway. Because everybody clings to who they're voting for, parties, campaigns, candidates, and all of that shit has nothing to do with actual political discussion. Right? The idea that anyone out there is genuinely undecided, give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. Come on. Come on. But instead, we have to endure these simplified garbage ad campaigns where they say a bunch of fake-ass garbage. Donald Trump is like, overtime, no tax on tips, but it's all just a money laundering scam for the rich 1%. Kamala's out there with some decent policy, but then she undermines it all with the whole pro-genocide thing and the whole pretending COVID disappeared. Right? We live in Fuckville, but we're not allowed to talk about serious fucking problems here. We're not, because everyone is in their election mindset. So you can't talk about fuck. You want to talk about the genocide in Gaza? Guess what? It's going to be really hard because you got a bunch of Green Party morons that are going to try to take your money because you mentioned that you don't like genocide. And then you got Democrats who are going to call you a leftist, like, you know, fucking crazy person because you care about genocide. And it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You know, like, can we just talk about the issues here? But you can't. And that's why, you know, for me, I've stayed relatively absent from this election cycle for the most part up until now. And in fact, I'm going to do a lot of my election cycle analysis after the election is over and not before the election because, you know, I just didn't want to participate in this fucking toxic discourse that we call the internet. But again, it really just, it hurts me on a fundamental level just how stupid everyone is. And when it comes closer to election time, everyone gets dumber. They get dumber. They get less open-minded, they get more closed off, and they get tired of discussing things that actually matter because they lose all of their stamina and energy talking about the Green Party instead of stuff that matters. By the way, how many Green Party voters wear a respirator during year 6 of a pandemic? They love talking about how much they hate genocide. I'm curious. By the way, has anyone seen what the Green Party has been saying about transgender people and women? Right? The Green Party's vice presidential candidate went out there and called trans women biological men, went out there and said that there should be a 16-week abortion ban nationally. That's the Green Party. You know, the party whose entire purpose on planet Earth is to pretend to be morally superior than the Democrats. Jesus goddamn fucking Christ. Right? But again, I've said a lot of stuff about the Green Party by now. And I'm going to continue saying stuff about the Green Party, but not right now. But this all leads me to talk about this. Election anxiety is real, no matter who you're voting for. And then we get this old-ass motherfucker, like, I don't know, I don't even, like, are they missing a finger? Is this AI generated? I mean, maybe that's 2 fingers, but I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, Waxhaw, North Carolina, pro-Trump signs outnumber the ones for Harris outside of Wesley Chapel Volunteer Fire Department. An early voting site in Union County, North Carolina. The lopsided ratio is the same across the country, mostly rural communities south of Charlotte near the South Carolina border. Across the county, I should say, not country, county. It's the same word, just, you know, dyslexia, give me a break. It's also a sign of the darker side of election season fear and anxiety, at least for liberals in this historically conservative area. Quote, a lot of people don't want to put out anything supporting Harris because they're afraid of retribution. Isn't that crazy, by the way? You put out a yard sign that says, actually, Hitler, not my favorite guy. And you have to be afraid of someone firebombing your fucking living room? Isn't that a little weird that we live in this world? Isn't that strange? I don't know. I think it's strange. Union County resident who was campaigning for Democratic candidates this week, even though she was wearing a t-shirt with a comma and the syllable la. A comma? La? What? Huh? What? Now, they could just show us a picture. Right? They could just show us a picture of the shirt. But just let's read this with me. Who is campaigning for, and why are they describing the t-shirt by, like, what? Okay. Who is campaigning for Democratic candidates this week, even though She was wearing a t-shirt with a comma and the syllable la. Okay? So it's comma and then la. But then, in the quote, it says la comma because they're following grammatical rules, right? So this is what's confusing me. Is it comma, la, or is it la comma? Right? What the fuck? Anyway, referencing the correct pronunciation of the first name of Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee. She declined to give her last name because she said she was afraid of being targeted. Quote, my neighbor put up a couple signs for the Harris Walls ticket, Lisa said. The next morning, they were crushed and crumpled up. Now, I just want to say this. This is a civil war. Now, I know a lot of people don't like that term. But if you put out a yard sign that says, I don't like Adolf Hitler, and then someone is going to destroy and break your property because you don't like Adolf Hitler, we are already in a civil war. Now, a lot of people think that civil war in the 21st century is going to be the same as the 19th century, not even close. You're dumb if you think that. A civil war means just that, a war within a country. Does it need to be fought with guns? No. Does it need to be even focused on violence? No. It is a war, right? That doesn't necessarily mean people have to die in a battlefield. That is a very, very, very antiquated view of war. Look at the genocide in Gaza, for example. They're using mostly drones to murder people. You know, a lot of the times they send Nazi foot soldiers in there to finish the job, as Donald Trump would say. But a lot of the times the war is fought with drones, with, bombs from the sky, and like toxic diseases, for example, that kind of stuff. Right? So war is not necessarily on the battlefield, and it's not even necessarily violent. I would consider stuff like the culture war to be a genuine example of a war that also, in my opinion, is synonymous with the civil war that is currently brewing and bubbling behind the surface. That's my opinion. You can disagree if you want. But again, if you put out a yard sign that says Adolf Hitler is bad, actually, and then you wake up and your fucking windows are broken and your shit's been destroyed and like someone lit your yard on fire, I think that that's a problem. Okay? That's a problem. And I don't know, man. It really seems to me that only one side is doing that. And, as I would advocate on my show frequently, I advocate for equality. Another early voter who did not want to be identified was so apprehensive about publicly expressing her choice for Harris that she simply whispered it before heading into the polling area. Brian Robinson, another Union County resident, echoed concerns about the potential for violence and retaliation. Quote, I'm more anxious about how divisive and bad things could get if the Democrats stay in the White House, he said. Mental fatigue is especially true for folks living in swing states that could ultimately be responsible for the election's outcome. Arizona, you already know all the one. One nation totally stressed out. How clever. Election-related dread is felt on both sides of the aisle, as well as among independent voters. Quote, we are seeing the highest levels of election-related stress compared to the last 3 elections, said Vale Wright, Senior Director of the Office of Healthcare Innovation at the American Psychological Association. The APA's latest Stress in America survey found that a majority of adults, 77%, said the future of the nation is a significant source of stress in their lives. The concern plagues all parties almost equally, 80% of Republicans, 79% of Democrats, and 73% of independents. I would argue that the reason that 73% of independents are anxious is because independents, generally speaking, are really fucking stupid. They're really dumb. They're really dumb. Let's be honest here. And the dumber you are, the less likely you're going to be anxious about what's obviously a terrible future, right? Let's be honest. If you're smart, you read. If you read, you know what's going to happen. If you know what's going to happen, you're going to freak the fuck out. If you do none of those things, guess what? You're an independent voter. I'm just saying, it's only a 7% delta. It's not that big. 69% of all 3305 U.S. adults polled in August specifically cited the presidential election as a stressor. There's a scientific reason for Americans' heightened levels of stress, said Brian Sexton, a psychologist and director of the Duke Center for the Advancement of well-being science in Durham, North Carolina. Quote, our brains are basically threat detectors, Sexton said. If you're feeling stressed, it simply means you're paying attention. That's what I said, except with less words. That is, the brain is so focused on identifying threats such as divisive rhetoric from candidates. That's not, I'm not, what is the, divisive rhetoric from candidates? First of all, Donald Trump is going out there advocating to shoot politicians. That's what he talked about Liz Cheney. I have a whole problem with Liz Cheney, but that's what he's saying. I would not call that divisive. How do I just say? This motherfucker led a coup against the United States of America. A violent overthrow of the government. Divisive. It's not divisive, motherfucker. This guy is a fascist freak, okay? He's a terrorist. Plain and simple. Right? And then candidates. Now, I know, technically, Trump is just one of thousands of sheep or drones or robots at the factory, also known as Republicans. But saying candidates and in the context of the presidential election makes it seem like Trump and Kamala are both divisive. Kamala is going out there campaigning with Republicans, saying, if you're a Republican, please vote for me. And yet she's divisive? This is what I was talking about, right? Is that during election season, we have to just tolerate how stupid the average person is. This fucking goddamn sentence. Divisive rhetoric from candidates. Now, I know that they're trying to generalize it, right? For the sake of describing how anxiety and politics could be intermixed. But I mean, I'm sorry, man. What the fuck? Okay? If you're spending all that attention span on noticing the threats, you don't notice the good stuff that recharges you, Sexton said. That's why it's so exhausting right now. Media in the battleground states is saturated with emotional, visceral political ads that can punch any left or right-leaning voter in the gut. I'm going to be honest with you. I watch a lot of politics. I have never seen a political ad that has punched me in the gut. Hasn't happened. Okay? The only time I saw any political ad that made me even slightly emotional was when Bernie announced his 2020 campaign. I was hyped. I'm not going to lie to you. I was hyped. But I didn't. A gut punch? What? Huh? You know, what the fuck are we talking about here? How does anyone get that emotionally invested in a fucking commercial on TV? Let's be honest. Unless it's Bernie Sanders, of course, because I love Bernie Sanders. All right. One ad in support of abortion rights describes in painful detail the story of a woman who at age 12 became pregnant when her stepfather sexually assaulted her. Ads for conservative candidates work to demonize transgender Americans. I just love the both sidesism here. Like, one's a gut punch. One ad, hey, you a tranny? Die, 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 die! The other ad, hey, if you get impregnated and you're 12, guess what? You're going to have to go and have that pregnancy or have that child. And guess what? You might die in the process. Oh, your stepfather raped you? Oh, man, that sucks. Anyway, that's the future Republican one. And then they're saying that those things are in any way equal. What? Huh? What? Is this a fucking joke? Come on, man. Come on. This is fucking stupid. Okay? Such ads are running in nearly every commercial break during national sporting events. If you're watching a sporting event, you have a low IQ. On morning television, if you're watching morning television on a television set, you have a low IQ. All right. Quote, it's an absolute deluge. The ad tracking company Medium Buying wrote on Twitter. This week, the firm counted 37 political ads that aired during a local morning news show in Georgia. People living in swing states are very stressed right now, Sexton said. They're exhausted because those threat awareness systems have been on full bore for months now. Lost sleep, poor appetite. I'm just going to finish this because this is fun. This is a fun article. I'm sorry. I'm having fun here. NBC News. Thanks for the entertainment. The mental anguish that Leigh Benish has felt because of the upcoming presidential election has at times overwhelmed her to the point of physical illness. Now, so far they've only interviewed Harris voters, so I hope that this is a Trumper. I really do. I hope that a Trumper is saying that they have mental anguish, because that would be awesome. Quote, "I've lost sleep over it," said Benish, 38. "There have been times where I haven't been eating because the stress is just so heavy." Benish lives in Butler, Pennsylvania, a town that was the center of chaos after the first assassination attempt on former president. Again, I just want to say this. Call me crazy, whatever you want. Maybe at some point later after the election I'll go into more detail. I think the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania was fake. I do. Now, let's real quick top level what I mean by that. Were there real bullets? Yes. Did someone really die? Yes. Was Trump ever in any actual danger of getting shot? No. Was Trump actually shot with a bullet? Did it touch his body in any way? No. That's my opinion. I personally believe they allowed some guy to go up there and pretend to shoot at Trump, and then he accidentally shot one of the guys as a PR stunt. That's my opinion, right? That's my opinion. Feel free to call me crazy. That's just what I think. Okay. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. On top of that, Pennsylvania is one of 7 swing states where the residents are bombarded day and night with phone calls, texts, and political ads that often prey on voters' fears. Quote, "I don't like conflict, and so it causes me to tense up," she said. That's fair. That's fair. I'm tense. Alright, so she's like a gay church person. I'm sorry, man. If you're gay and you go to church, you deserve to live in mental anguish. If you are gay and you are Christian, you are stupid. I'm sorry. Go fuck yourself. I hope you cry yourself to sleep every night because you're too dumb to even... You're really not even gay. Let's be honest. I'm not here to sit here and police people's identities. But if you are a supporter of Christ and you identify as gay, I'm sorry. You are Christian before you are gay. I don't accept you as part of my community. I'm sorry. It's just how I feel. All right? You are an enemy because you are a Christian. I'm sorry, gay Christians. Go fuck yourselves, okay? Just let's be honest here. Go fuck yourselves. The onslaught is overwhelming, so overwhelming that Benish, a church pastor in Butler, has begun to focus on election stress in sessions with her counselor. Even as she tries to ease her own angst, her feelings are compounded by helping other people through the same issues. Quote, "It's so personal for a lot of people, especially those who are at the Trump rally." Benish said they witnessed that, and the trauma comes out. Oh, look at this. Easing election stress, exercise, explore nature, feel the sun on your skin, meditate, have lunch with a friend, get a good night's rest. Now, this is like the shit if you mention the S word, if you say suicide or something, and then you get like the little pop-up and it says, "If you are feeling sad, you are not alone. Please call this number so that they can send cops to your house and send you to jail for 3 to 10 days against your will," right? Like, that's what this is. Oh, are you stressed? How about you go for a walk? Well, no fucking shit. Ha, wow, I never thought of that. What? Hey, those are solid suggestions, but here we are in 24, and those tried and true ideas aren't doing it for millions of Americans. They're also just not doing it in the sense that no one is doing this stuff. Let's be honest, okay? No one's doing that. The majority of people, quote, "don't have time to go on a yoga retreat." A yoga retreat? The idea that there's no in-between between meditation and exercise and a yoga retreat? What? You can tell that, like, rich-ass motherfuckers write these articles, because yoga retreat? What the fuck? They don't have time to lose 20 pounds. They don't have time to lose 20 pounds? Huh? They don't have time to lose 20... Dude, what? How is losing weight in any relation to time? Huh? What? Oh, sorry. I can't lose any weight. Just don't have time. Now, I got news for y'all, okay? And now, you might not know this because you might be stupid. Losing weight is a passive activity. You do not, in any way, shape, and form, need to spend time losing weight. It costs precisely 0 extra seconds and 0 extra minutes to lose weight. Okay? You know how you do it? Right? You eat less garbage. You eat better food. All of which requires no time investment. Okay? Oh, but you gotta cook meals better. Oh, so you're just not cooking? Really? I mean, you're so pressed for time that you can't even cook a meal once a week? You know, you can't do meal prep? If that's your situation, your life is fucked beyond belief, and you probably shouldn't be spending any amount of time watching this show, so therefore I'm not talking to you. Time has no bearing on weight loss. You lose weight passively by walking more, right? Sitting less and eating less unhealthy food and replacing it with healthy foods or replacing it with not eating at all. So the idea that you don't have time to lose 20 pounds and also that like losing 20 pounds or whatever is somehow going to make you less anxious. I mean, maybe, I guess, but it's like, oh, what? I'm sorry. Illogic really triggers me. So I get sent down these rabbit holes. They don't have time to try meditation for the first time. Bro, what? Now, I'm going to be out there with some hot takes. If you have ever fallen asleep without a television on, without a fan on, all right, without listening to something on your headphones and with your cell phone, if you've just sat down on your bed in complete darkness with no audio of any kind, no auditory experience, that's meditation. Is it advanced meditation? No. Is it what we would commonly refer to as meditation? No, but it is a form of meditation. So in my opinion, everyone has meditated. Unless, you're Generation Alpha and you've got brain rot and you've got like headphones surgically installed into your eardrums or something. So you're never even for a second without content being piped into your goddamn fucking brain. But in my opinion, if you go to sleep without any sort of aid, that is a form of meditation. And also, you don't have time to try meditation for the first time. What the fuck? What? You don't have 20 minutes? Now, I'm sorry. If motherfuckers don't have 20 minutes, you don't have 20 minutes, then how the fuck? What? You're telling me you're so pressed for fucking time. You have no free time whatsoever. No free time at all. You can't even meditate for 20 minutes. They need something simple. Again, I'm just going to be honest with you. Meditating is extraordinarily simple. It's extremely simple. But of course, most people are stupid and they get afraid of the word meditation because it seems fancy and they don't even know how to use Google. Let's be honest. Google isn't really even reliable anymore, so we're actually fucked. Focus on one of the 5 senses. Okay, I'm done with this. Anyway, apparently we're all stressed about the election. So... that's pretty cool. How long have I been live? Oh, not bad. Not bad. If anyone has questions, comments, possibly concerns, but definitely not criticism, feel free to post it. I do have a couple articles here that I'm going to be covering today. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them. I'm kind of just like, adding stuff to a list throughout the day, and I'm just throughout the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna get through it. I also want to say this now. I will be streaming for most of Election Day. On Election Day, I will be doing 2 streams. I'll be streaming video games on twitch.tv. I will be playing through the Doomwad Ancient Aliens. And that's just going to be free-form election banter. All right? Free-form. Whatever you want to ask me, whatever the fuck. We're just going to talk about the election on the day of while I shoot some aliens on a video game screen. When that game is done, I will then switch over to YouTube, where I will look at the polls. And I will track the bull. And we will count the states in real time. So if anyone wants to check that out... I know a lot of people do election shows, so, I know most people here are going to choose to go watch that low IQ, generic crap that everyone else is going to shovel out there. But don't you want to think to yourself, damn, I'm glad I tuned in to the 4-viewer Andrea election experience. Don't you want to be one of those 4 viewers? Check it out on Tuesday. Mila sent me a super chat. Please comment on Dan Osborne. What? I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Independent for Senate? Is that the guy? Okay, so the Democratic Party is just ignoring the race entirely. I see. Interesting. Well, I'll look more into him, Mila, and I will answer your question tomorrow or the next day. If you don't mind giving me an amount of time to do my research. You know, if you could imagine a streamer taking time to do research before answering a question. But yeah, I haven't been following the Nebraska Senate race. I apologize for dropping the ball on that one. But I'll look into it and ask me again later. When the hell did aliens become ancient? Via time travel. That's how it happened. You're gonna hate it whenever this country goes down the toilet. I mean, it's already down the toilet, but hey. It's already fudged. Oh man, Don Lemon was gonna go live for the election. Now I don't know who to pick. What else do we got here? Oh, should I do it? Should I piss everyone off? No. Let's do one more first. Then I'll piss everyone off. Tens of millions of early votes have been cast. What could it mean for election day? By the way, everybody, be sure to vote early instead of on election day if that is possible for you. It's just probably going to be a lot easier for everyone involved. I am very concerned with lines on election day when it comes to COVID, for example, but we'll get into that later. But I will be personally voting tomorrow. So, feel free to vote tomorrow, and then I'll do my show after, and then we can do hashtag my voter stories, or you can be a little basic bitch and wait until Tuesday. As Election Day nears, tens of millions of voters have already cast their ballots throughout the country. Whether through mail-ins or early in-person polling stations, more than 70 million Americans, roughly 44% of the 2020 turnout, had voted against standing in line on Election Day as of Friday afternoon. Academic experts, reporters, and pundits have been going through basic and limited data gleaned from the early voting numbers, trying to get clues about next week's outcome. The picture, however, is not exactly black and white, according to Charles Stewart, director of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Election Data Science Lab. Jesus fucking Christ, how many goddamn things are in the title? It's like talking about the weather, he said. The candidates, the press, etc. I like that they spelled out etc. That's awesome. Really are trying to draw conclusions just on the face value of the data, but there really isn't a lot there to say who is winning. That said, Stewart said the early voting data does provide some insights when it comes to the year's voting patterns, overall turnout indicators that could help explain how the election turns out. A flip in the ways people early vote. Voting trends have shown that more people have been choosing to cast their ballots before Election Day, and this has increased the numbers over the last 30 years. But 2020 turned out to be a major outlier, according to Stewart. In the last presidential election, 69% of 158 million total votes were cast before Election Day, either through the mail, which included mail ballot drop-offs in person, or at early voting poll sites, according to data from MIT. Not to be confused with, the other MIT from Massachusetts. Am I right, people? Some 43% of the 2020 early votes came from mail ballots, according to the data. Stewart said the COVID-19 pandemic forced, because Stewart lives in a fantasy world where the COVID-19 pandemic ended. I wish I could live in that fantasy world. The pandemic forced many voters who were already heavily engaged and wanted to be safe to opt into using mail ballots or smaller voting lines if available. I'm just going to put a pin in that. We'll talk about COVID after this. Don't worry about it. So you can leave now. If hearing about the pandemic that's still going on triggers the fuck out of you because you're a little crybaby who wants to walk around without a mask on and go to events and pretend like you're not doing anything wrong, there's your trigger warning. You can leave the stream now. Quote, there's a speculation of what would happen with the shift once the pandemic was over. Again, the pandemic is not over. This person is stupid. However, in this year's early voting, there has been a drop in voters choosing mail-in voting. I would imagine, presumably, it's because they're fucking stupid. The only reason I didn't vote by mail is because I am fucking stupid. Maybe I'll explain why I'm stupid later, but needless to say, I am fucking stupid, so I missed my chance to mail my vote in. Otherwise, I would have. But again, I'm gonna freely admit the only reason I didn't mail in my ballot is because I'm fucking stupid. I'm just being honest with you, okay? As you know, if you want to say you're not doing a mail-in for any other reason than you're stupid, I'd love to hear it, okay? I'd love to hear it. He noted that the shift is apparent in Georgia, which has seen a record early voting numbers with over 4 million ballots cast as of Saturday. Roughly 92% of those were cast at in-person polling places and the rest via mail. Stewart said some states, including swing states, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, only offer early voting through in-person absentee options. Under this option, a voter must request an absentee ballot, fill it out, and then deposit it in either a ballot box or a designated location, and they are counted as a mail ballot voter. Some voters may not have the time or energy to go through these extra steps to cast their ballots early, also known as being stupid. Hey, again, as a stupid person, going out there to tell you that. Quote, if you have to vote early in person, you have to figure out where the precinct is, but you have to find out which is closer to your house or errands. With voting by mail, you have to take the effort to apply, to fill it out and return, blah, blah, blah. With election day voting, you likely have a polling site that is much closer to you. Now, I don't have a car. I don't drive. I don't have a driver's license. I've never driven a car in my entire life. And I'm going to be honest with you. The fear that the average American has of walking to like a polling place is pretty astounding to me. But hey, whatever. I know if you're living in a rural place or whatever, and you live on a farm or some shit, maybe you need a car. But I mean, hey, I'm just saying, man. It's not really that difficult to find an early voting place. It really isn't. Okay. Partisan numbers don't give any indication of outcomes. Stewart said historical trends show that the majority of early voters made their decisions a long time ago and are likely politically active. This year's data shows that to be the case, he said. Bit noted? More like butt noted. Am I right, people? A major change in partisan turnout in several battleground states, according to the University of Florida and their election laboratory. Registered Republicans have seen a higher early voting turnout in battlegrounds, Arizona, Nevada, and North Carolina. In the election compared to 24, compared to 24. Did an AI write this? This election, which is the 2024 election, obviously, compared to 2024? So we're comparing 2024 to 2024? But hey, shout out to the artificial intelligence that wrote this. Typically, Democrats have had an advantage in early voting. However, Trump has pushed his supporters to cast their vote earlier, and that appears to have had an impact. While Republican officials have been touting these higher numbers as a sign of growing support, Stewart warned there is more nuance to the data. Basically, you can read the rest of this, or you can just say, we don't fucking know, we don't know. But people are early voting, and you should be early voting, or vote on election day, whatever. I don't give a shit. As long as you vote, and as long as you don't vote for Jill Stein. As long as you don't vote for Jill Stein. Please don't vote third party. Please don't vote third party. And if you're going to vote third party, keep it to yourself. You don't need to tell everyone how stupid you are. Like, it's optional, right? If you are dumb, you know you're dumb, keep that to yourself. You know? How's it going? In other news, Idaho's health department isn't allowed to give COVID vaccines anymore. Experts say it's a first. Now, we live in Fuckville. This is something I've said many times before. We live in the hell world. Fuckville, USA. Fuckville, Earth. Where, now, let's just keep in mind, about 10 to 20% of Americans get the COVID vaccine every year. There are 3 variations in the United States, 2 of which use mRNA, one of which is a more classical vaccine. But the 3 variations are Pfizer, Moderna, and Novavax. So of the about 1 in 5 Americans that get vaccinated every year against the coronavirus strains, I don't even know the numbers, but I can guarantee you an even smaller fraction of them are getting Novavax. Now, why do I mention this? Because Novavax is an objectively better vaccine than Moderna and Pfizer. It is objectively better. Now, we can cry and whine. If you think that makes me anti-vax or whatever, go fuck yourself, cry yourself into a hole, okay? Novavax is objectively better. Is that because mRNA vaccines infect you with some secret virus or something? No. It's just that that technology has not been thoroughly researched enough to be as effective as the classical technology. So if you are going to get vaccinated, which you should, of course, get the Novavax vaccine. Also buy their stock. Anyway. Let's check this out. A regional public health department in Idaho is no longer providing COVID-19 vaccines to residents in 6 counties after a narrow decision by its board. Southwest District Health appears to be first in the nation to be restricted from giving COVID-19 vaccines. Vaccinations are an essential function of a public health department. Now, this is where we get into an advanced form of fuckery. Because the average American, 90% of Americans at least, think that COVID is magically gone. They think it disappeared, even though they're sick all the time, even though their IQ has been down 10 points, even though they haven't been able to climb up a flight of stairs without almost dying in the last 3 years, even though they can't smell or taste anything. Most Americans think that COVID magically disappeared because they're fucking dumb. And as a result, about 1 in 5 Americans on a good year get the COVID vaccine. Okay? If you got a vaccine in 2021, that is meaningless at this point in time. It is about to be 2025. The virus has mutated so many thousands of times that if you got vaccinated in 2021, you might as well just be an anti-vaxxer Trump supporter, because guess what? That shit has worn off by now. That's like saying I got a flu shot in 2006. I'm good, guys. I'm good. Oh, yeah, flu's going around. Well, I got my flu shot in 1982, so I'm good. But again, Americans are fucking dumb. So this puts public health agencies in an awkward position. Because if Democrats who control the CDC are lying to you and pretending that COVID disappeared, well, why do we need to get vaccines? If the pandemic is over and COVID magically left the universe overnight, why do we need vaccines? And that's why only 1 in 5 Americans are getting the COVID vaccine, and even more of them are getting the flu vaccine, even though COVID is more dangerous than the flu and COVID spreads more than the flu. There's about 10 to 1, 10 times COVID circulating for every 1 flu virus. And yet more people get the flu vaccine than the COVID vaccine. Why? Because Democrats brainwashed you all into believing that COVID magically disappeared. And so that makes Republicans, right, go crazy. Because it's like, well, the virus isn't real in the first place, so we got to ban all this stuff. And how are public health agencies or Democrats supposed to oppose that when Democrats, who control the public health agencies, are also in the same group as Republicans and are lying to you about COVID disappearing? So Democrats pretend that COVID is over. Republicans pretend it never happened. So why the fuck do we need vaccines? And that's where you see shit like this. Okay, that's where this stuff comes from. Because we live in fuckville. And this is another thing that's driving me fucking insane. Apologies for screaming. This is driving me fucking insane. Living on the planet. We are now, within a week or two, depending on your official start date, year 6 of the COVID pandemic. SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. There is a SARS outbreak in 2003, and there is a 20-year follow-up that was released last year that found that if you got infected with SARS in 2003, 20 years later, you never fully recovered. That was SARS 1. One localized, small regional outbreak. Now we have SARS 2, which everyone is getting repeatedly infected with over and over and over and over and over with, and both parties in the United States are telling you it's not real. And again, I'm not going to lie to you. This has been, I would argue that COVID is the #1 contributor to why I stopped doing a show. Because why on earth am I doing a political show? The most important political subject of our lifetimes is a pandemic that everyone's ignoring in favor of, oh, what debate is on TV tonight? Oh, some guy in a beanie did a podcast with someone else I like. Well, let's watch that. Oh, someone talked about trans people on the internet. Let's talk about that for 15 hours. All right, so I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty pissed off. All right, I'm very upset about the current state of politics, and I'm very upset about the current state of internet discourse. And hey, I don't leave the house because we're in a pandemic, so this is where I get my discourse, from the online world. And guess what? Most people here fucking suck, actually. But let's keep reading. While policymakers in Texas banned health departments from promoting COVID vaccines, and Florida's Surgeon General bucked medical consensus to recommend against the vaccine, governmental bodies across the country haven't blocked the vaccines outright. Quote, I'm not aware of anything else like this, said Adrienne Casalotti, Chief of Government and Public Affairs for the National Assembly. She said health departments have stopped offering the vaccine because of cost or low demand. Now, again, if you are dumb and you believe that the pandemic is over, or God forbid, you're even dumber and you believe that the pandemic is still here, but somehow you aren't going to get infected that bad, or somehow when you act as a chain of transmission and infect someone else, they're not going to die or anything, so your hands are clean. You're not a murderer. Even dumber, by the way. Even dumber. To acknowledge that COVID is still here and to refuse to wear a mask at public events, that makes you a fucking moron. That makes you a knowing serial killer. Now, again, you can be upset at me. You can get triggered that I said that. But that makes you a serial killer. Okay? It's one thing to kill someone on accident because you didn't know they were there. Right? Hey, is it good? No. But if you know someone is sitting right in the middle of the street and you step on the gas and run them the fuck over because you think, hey, I'm in my car. I'll be fine. I'm okay. That makes you a fucking piece of shit. I'm sorry. We're in year 6 of a pandemic. I'm not mincing words anymore. You guys, if you're going to events without masks on, you guys are fucking stupid. And you are contributing to the world that we live in that allows people like Democrats and Republicans to brainwash people so easily. Really? The same government that is advocating and promoting a genocide in Gaza, while at the same time saying there is no genocide in Boston, you trust them on a pandemic? Really? Really? The same motherfuckers that lied us into a 25-year war in the Middle East about these so-called weapons of mass destruction, you're going to believe that same government when it comes to your personal health and safety. You got to be dumb in order to do that. If you leave the house and go to any public place without a mask on, a respirator, whatever you can get, you are a stupid person. And at best case scenario, if you go to any public place without a mask on and infect other people and you know that we're still in a pandemic, you are a murderer. You are evil. You are straight up a bad person. You're not good. You're a bad person. If that upsets you, think about yourself. Because I cannot live with the cognitive dissonance of hurting people. That's why I stay inside. Because just thinking about it, the concept that I get infected with COVID and I spread it to someone else and they may die as a result, I would, and I'm not even joking, and I say this with all honesty, if that happened, I would literally jump out of my window. I would not be able to live with the idea that I in any way contributed to the death of an innocent person. I couldn't do it. I can't. So I don't know how you guys can do that. I really don't. And I'm talking, of course, to people that leave the house without respirators. I don't know how you guys can do that. Walk around killing people and pretend it's not happening. Really? That's crazy ass shit. Let's keep going, though. The 6-county district along the Idaho-Oregon border includes 3 counties in the Boise metropolitan area. Demand for COVID vaccines in the Health District has declined, with 1,601 given in 2021 to 64 so far in 2024. Again, if Democrats and Republicans are both telling you either COVID went away or it never happened in the first place, why would you get vaccinated? But of course, in the real world, COVID is still here. In the real world, COVID is more dangerous than it ever has been. In the real world, COVID is infecting and disabling millions of people all across the world. In the real world, we need to get vaccines. But most people are fucking stupid, so they believe that, again, magic engulfed our society. You know, the magical fairies that made COVID go away, man, wouldn't it be great if they helped us with anything else? Wouldn't it be great if they got rid of the space debris so we could go fly to Mars? Wouldn't it be great if they got rid of PFAS, right? So that we could fucking not worry about toxic chemicals in our bloodstream? Wouldn't it be great if the magical fucking leprechauns that got rid of COVID also got rid of microplastics? If they also got rid of Republicans? If they also got rid of processed fucking food? If they also got rid of potholes? Wouldn't it be fucking awesome if the magical motherfucking fairies came down from outer space and fixed all of our fucking problems? But we don't live in that fucking fairy tale world. So guess what? COVID is still here. It's more dangerous than it ever has been. If that's news to you, you're fucking stupid, and I highly recommend ceasing to be stupid in the future by paying attention to this kind of stuff, okay? That's just how we live, okay? I'm sorry. I don't like living like this. I don't like being in my fucking house for almost fucking 5 years straight. I don't like this fucking shit, but hey, guess what? I know how to read. I can read. I can look at words, understand the words, and then create a matrix in my head of the meaning of those words and apply it to my understanding of the universe. And as a result, I know that COVID did not magically disappear. As a result, I know that leprechauns did not come down from the sky over their rainbows and make all viruses disappear. Right? I know that that didn't happen. Why? Because I have the basic ability to read. I am literate, which I guess 90% of Americans are not. Quote, "A request of the board is that we would be able to carry and offer those vaccines, recognizing that we always have these discussions of risk and benefits." Dr. Perry Jansen said at the meeting, "This is not a blind, everybody gets a shot approach. This is a thoughtful approach." Now, I just want to say this. What the fuck does that mean? These are the people in charge, I guess, of public health, and they're just saying a bunch of jibber jabber? We would be able to carry and offer the vaccines, recognizing that we always have these discussions of risk and benefit. Okay, risk of getting the vaccine, 0.00001%. Okay, let's be honest. Like, again, if you're getting an mRNA vaccine, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to have a sore arm. Now, I know some people out there claim to have been injured by the vaccine. I'm going to be honest with you. While I think it is theoretically possible to be injured by a vaccine, I think it is possible. If you were to ask me what is more likely caused an injury, getting a virus that destroys every organ in your body and literally eats away holes in your brain, or a vaccine that prevents the worst outcomes of that virus for like 6 months or so after you get it, because it wanes over time, and then after a year or two is completely ineffective, right? If you're going to ask me what is more likely to be injuring people, I'm going to go with the brain-eating, heart-destroying, flesh-eating virus. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with. So again, while it is theoretically possible that these vaccines could have injured one person out there possibly, I'm going to go ahead and assume anyone who claims to have been injured by the vaccine just got COVID 15 times and can't tell the difference because they have an IQ of about, 2.5. That's my guess. That's my guess. And when we have the people in charge of public health are pretending like there's risks involved, this is like, again, it's the Obama measure, where you start the conversation halfway agreeing with your opponent. And so when you start from, well, it's a pros and cons approach, there are risks to getting these vaccinations. When you start from that approach, guess what? You're not going to win. Why? Because you're a fucking idiot. But these are the people in charge of public health. They're a bunch of fucking goofy morons, okay? That's what they are. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They're dumber than dog shit. So obviously, it's okay to distrust public health agencies because they've been lying to us for years now. But distrusting public health agencies and then saying science just stopped existing are two separate things. Public health agencies are an institution of the government that very well can and are being corrupted by right-wing billionaires and also Democrats, which, let's be honest, most of the time right-wing billionaires, okay? Just slightly less right-wing, right? Science, on the other hand, cannot be controlled by the government. The government can control the information related to science. They can control tools related to science, but they cannot control science. They cannot control the scientific method. They cannot control reality as it exists. So just because the CDC and all of their satellite health agencies are full of a bunch of ghouls and goblins, right? Just because that's true does not mean that COVID magically disappeared. And if you think that's true, you're dumb. You're stupid, okay? You're just a really stupid person. Opposite Janssen's plea were more than 290 public comments, many of which called for an end to vaccine mandates or taxpayer funding of the vaccines, neither of which... Dude, Republicans, man. Like, now, first of all, there was never a vaccine mandate anywhere in the United States of America. Zero. 0 states had a vaccine mandate. Now, you might be thinking, what about Biden? If you look at Biden's vaccine mandate, quote unquote, there were 2 rules. 1, get vaccinated. 2, get tested. Both of which are acceptable. How is that a vaccine mandate? A mandate means you are required to do this thing at penalty of jail or whatever. That's a mandate. For example, you are mandated to pay your taxes. If you do not pay your taxes, you'll get fined and eventually thrown in jail. That's a mandate. That's a mandate. Someone saying, hey, get a vaccine or don't, I guess, it's up to you. That's not a mandate. That's not a mandate. I'm sorry, it's not a mandate. Hey, get the vaccine or don't is not a mandate. And if you think it's a mandate, you're dumb. And again, we've never had a mandate in this country. If you think we ever did, you're stupid. You are a dumb person. You're easily misinformed. You're a gullible little bitch, right? But it just so happens that the entire Republican Party seems to exist in this magical fantasy world where not only were there mandates in the past, there never were, but they're still actively looming over us. Are the mandates in the room right now? But maybe they hear the word mandate and they think about homosexuality and that makes them uncomfortable. I don't really know what's going on with Republicans, but not good. At the meeting, many people who spoke are nationally known for making the rounds to testify against COVID vaccines, including Dr. Peter McCullough, a a motherfucker from Texas drove on up to Idaho to speak at a local county fucking board to talk about how vaccines are bad for you. What? Why is he even Now, I have a hot take. If you do not live in the district, you should not be allowed to speak at these meetings. Hot take. Hot take. Hot take. If you don't live there, fuck off. Now, can you sit in and listen? Sure. But you're telling me someone drove to Idaho. I don't know if you know where that is, by the way. It's in the top left of the goddamn country, okay? From Texas, which I don't know if you know where that is. It's at the absolute fucking bottom of the country. Some motherfucker drove, literally, across the motherfucking country to testify at a small town council meeting to ban COVID vaccines. Jesus goddamn Christ. Board Chairman Kelly, more like chairwoman, am I right? Was familiar with the many of the voices who wanted the ban, especially from earlier local protests of pandemic measures. I'm just going to call her Kelly, I'm sorry, I hate to be racist like that. I know, sometimes my whiteness comes out there. But who told the Associated Press that he. Are they transgender? And then didn't change their name yet? Kelly? Really? I've heard of Kelly as a last name. Kelly is a first name for a man? Hey, man. Huh. Okay. I'm sorry for assuming your gender there, buddy, but... hey, fuck it. Kelly's a girl now. Fuck you. Transition or don't. Who told the Associated Press that she is skeptical of COVID-19 vaccines, and national public health leaders said in the meeting and in an interview with the AP that she was supportive of, but, quote, disappointed in the board's decision. What? So you support the decision, but you don't like it? Okay. He said the board had overstepped the relation between patients and their doctors and possibly opened a door to blocking other vaccines. Oh, now Republicans are concerned about getting in the way of patients and their doctors. Oh, well, darn me. Darn me. Didn't see that one coming. Board members in favor of the decision argued people can get vaccinated elsewhere, and that providing the shots was equivalent to signing off on their safety. Board members I'm just going to read this again. Board members in favor of the decision argued people can get vaccinated elsewhere, okay? And that providing the shots was equivalent to signing off on their safety. So you're telling me the government providing vaccines means the government approved the vaccines? But we don't want the government to carry vaccines because then that would imply that the government approved them, which they did. The FDA approves the vaccines, but we don't want people to think that we approve the what the fuck, man? Republicans, holy shit. The people getting vaccinated at the health department, including people without housing, people who are homebound, and those in long-term care facilities or immigration process, had no other options. Jansen and Kelly said, I've been homeless in my lifetime, so I understand how difficult it can be when you're trying to get by and get ahead. What? This is where we should be stepping in and helping. But we have some board members who have never been there, so they don't understand what it's like. Oh, fucking moron. State health officials have said that they recommend that people consider the COVID. You know what really pisses me off? That our world is run by stupid people. And there are so many people that are not bottom of the barrel dumpster sludge IQ that are afraid to just say what's real because they think that stupid people might get angry. And then you see this. You recommend that people consider the vaccine? What? You recommend that people consider taking the motherfucking vaccine? Are you guys so fucking afraid of just saying, hey guys, the sky is blue right now, that you're going to use terms like, we recommend that people consider the COVID? What the fuck, man? Idaho Health Department spokesperson A.J. McWhorter, great name, declined to comment on public health district business, but noted the COVID-19 vaccines are still available at community health centers for people who are uninsured. Kelly said he plans to ask the next board meeting if the health department can be at least allowed to vaccinate older patients and residents at long-term care facilities, adding that the board is supposed to be caring for the health and well-being of the district's residents. Yeah, give me a break. But I believe the way we went about this thing is that we didn't do that due diligence. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. This shit drives me insane. It does. Living in a world where 90% of Americans believe in magic, literally, that leprechauns descended from the skies or whatever, the tooth fairy came around and destroyed the coronavirus. And it's gone. No one will ever get sick again because of the magical fairies. Like, I'm sorry, man. We live in fuck-assville. Jason says it was a mandate. Dumb. The military. You can just leave the military. The teachers. You can just quit your job. The papers. You can just quit your job. It's not a fucking mandate if you can quit. It's not a fucking mandate by the government if you can quit. Okay? It's not a fucking mandate. Taxes are a mandate. If you cannot opt out of taxes. Why? They're a mandate. If you can quit your job and therefore not get the COVID vaccine and get a different job that doesn't want you to get the vaccine, Guess what? Not a fucking mandate. I'm sorry. You're dumb, Jason. Jesus fucking Christ. Go back to Camp Crystal Lake, you motherfucker, okay? My God. What the hell? Words have definitions. They recommend you consider taking a look into it. Maybe I will. Recommending that someone consider the vaccine is equivalent of woke socialism. God damn, these motherfuckers are woke as hell. There's a guy that took 250 doses, and when they tested his blood, the only abnormality they found was a higher immune rate than expected. Yeah, dude, I remember reading that story. Someone fucking took literally over 200 doses of not even Novavax, but the mRNA vaccine, which is anti-vaxxers claim is more deadly or poisonous or something. It's just worse. It's not as effective. It's not deadly or poisonous. It's just a less effective vaccine. Right, so some motherfucker in, like, Germany or some shit, like, had 200 of them. Totally fine. Totally good. I don't know, man. The LD50 on fucking Hershey chocolate bars might be more of a concern than the LD50 on mRNA vaccines. That's what it seems like. But anyway, I'm going to be wrapping up my show here, at least for the news portion. If anyone wants to keep me here by asking me things, feel free to do so. I will be covering, of course, just to reiterate for those of you that haven't watched yesterday's program or whatever, I don't know. I will be doing an all-day election stream on Tuesday, 2 parts. Okay? I will be streaming Ancient Aliens, the Doom Experience shoot 'em up game on twitch.tv. I'll be streaming maybe around 2 or 3 o'clock. That's going to be freeform day of election banter while I play a video game. When I am done the video game, around the time of 7 or 8 p.m., when the polls start closing, I'm going to be switching to YouTube. And then we're going to be taking a look at the map and, you know, either drinking an entire bottle of whiskey or drinking half a bottle of whiskey, depending on on what happens. So that's happening. I will also be doing 15 shows every day. This is day 2 of 15 shows. It was going to be 14 shows. I thought that was a little too sus, so now I'm doing a whole extra bonus show. 15 shows from now until November 15th. I will be doing a daily show. I am anticipating that there's going to be a lot of shit to talk about in the week after the election, possibly even more to talk about than the entire election itself. I personally believe that there will be a lot of violence, and we're going to see a lot of shenanigans, a lot of lies, a lot of manipulation. Succinctly put, we're going to see some fucked up shit in the next coming weeks, so I wanted to bring back the daily show for a couple of weeks here. After the 15th, I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. But that's all I'm committing to right now. But yeah, we got Ali CIA, we got Anti-Corporota, yes. We got Looney Tune, we got Soul Ife, we got Tyler, we got Fug, and more. We got Pinkerbell and more joining us today on the Above It All programmatic program. A whole bonus show. Whole bonus show. But yeah, Q-Cock, if you have anything to ask me, and by that I mean I'm literally just begging you to give me something to talk about so that I don't have to end the show in the next couple of minutes. Literally, I'm outsourcing. Is anyone in here Mexican? Because if so, I got a job for you. Ask me a question in the chat, please. Outsourcing our jobs to Mexico, live on stream, folks. America first, more like America last, actually. If you are an illegal immigrant, please, I would love to outsource my labor to you. Please ask me a question in the chat. Or don't. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to, I guess. We got Atticus. More like, add a swear. We got Wuzd. We got T-Dust. Who do I think's going to win? I think Kamala will win with over 300 effort values. That's what I think. What do I think the rest of the week will look like? From now until the election, or including after the election? Well, technically the rest of the week is about, I don't know, 6 or 7 more hours. So for the rest of the week, I'm looking at getting real high, drinking alcohol, and eating food that is not healthy for me. And maybe I'll do a couple loops of that. That's what the rest of the week is looking like for me. But as far as next week is concerned, I personally think they're going to be blowing shit up. That's what I think. I think they're going to blow shit up. I think that there's going to be fights and violence, maybe even shootings at polling locations in Democrat areas. That's what I think. That's my prediction. What do I think about a horror film based on an alpaca? Thought about making a short film. Go for it. I'll watch it. Sometimes when I do the show called Left Past 10 on Wednesdays. And one of my favorite parts about doing that show is that I get to interact with other people's audiences. And a lot of, like, I think it's a lot of, like, Environmental Coffee House. Her viewership really hates that I rock back and forth. You know, I noticed that she has a very ableist chat room. You know, I'm now more aware of it. But, like, I remember the other day, by that I mean like 6 months ago, I was just vibing. I was in my own world. And some fucking bitch in the chat was like, why is she rocking back and forth? It's so distracting. She's so unprofessional. So, I enjoy being able to yell at other people's chatters. That's always fun. That's one thing. If you don't watch Left Past 10, you're missing on that one. Because if you think I have fun yelling at my own chatters, you know, wait until I start yelling at other people's chatters. That's crazy shit. So, it's pretty good. Really, your show's chat is ableist? Hey, man! I'm just saying! It's only her viewers. Many people are saying. I'm not saying, actually. I wouldn't say that. That's what I've heard. In fact, this is the first I'm hearing of it. Fucking prescription side effects. What the fuck? First of all, mRNA is not a prescription. Second of all, I know, you're just trolling me. You're just fucking... Oh, letter hacks chat. Don't even get me started with letter hacks chat. Don't even get me started with letter hacks chat. Those motherfuckers. No, it was Sandy's chat that was being mean to me because I was like playing with my hair or something. That's right. That's what it was. Sandy's chat was verbally abusing me because I was like doing this or something, you know. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Jason watches this stream because deep down, Jason's inner child is yearning to be free. And the decades of calcification of the Republican fascist propaganda that is the current 99.9% amalgamation of Jason as in this form that we are interacting with is unaware of the subconscious efforts of the inner child to break free of this Republican mind virus that they've been infected with. And so hopefully at some point they can break free, and my goal is to Well, actually, I don't have a goal in that, but hopefully I can achieve that. But it's not really a goal of mine. That's why a Republican would watch my show, because deep down they know I'm correct, and they know that they're in a cult, and they know that everything that they say that they believe is really dumb. They're just afraid to make that jump. So, you know. Oh, man. So your dogs are goth, huh? I got something to tell you. My dogs are goth. Yesterday, I moved my camera to show Max the dog, and the entire chat said that they could not see my dog because he's black and brown. Apparently, my chat yesterday was extremely racist. I was pointing my camera at the dog, and they were like, I can't see the dog. They're too black. I can't see the dog. Their color is too brown. I can't see them. So, if your dogs are goth, I'm hoping that we can have some solidarity here from having black and brown dogs. So, now Jason's that character from fucking Seinfeld. Well, it's getting cold enough. Max the dog might have to start getting dressed soon. Because he was on a black rug. It's racist. Why does the rug have to be black? Why can't it be charcoal? You fucking racist. Jesus Christ. So I'm drinking White Claw. It's the Surge variety. So it's got 8% alcohol. I haven't tried the green apple flavor before, and when it's cold, it's really good. But I've been working on this can for about 2 hours, and it's starting to get warm, and it's starting to taste like shit. So I'm probably just gonna dump that down the drain later. I just thought I'd provide that. Oh, according to YouTube, check this out. Creators adopting live automated mid-rolls saw, on average, over 20% uplift in in-stream ad revenue. They want me to turn on ads. You ever notice that this stream is ad-free? I don't know how the video works. I think that YouTube just throws ads all over the video. But the stream is ad-free. YouTube is telling me I could make more money if I put ads on. But I ain't doing it. I should change my name to My Dogs Are Dead. Oh my fucking god. I can't do this. I can't do this. You can't do this to me with this shit, man. I didn't know your dogs were dead. What the fuck? It's horrible. How many ads do I get asking me to turn on ads? It's like this big pop-up bar on the website. It's like this blue bar that's appearing like above the chat room on my I just realized I'm on top chat. I've been missing messages this whole goddamn time. Fuck. But yeah, anyway, I will be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'm going to, as usual, do the best in my capability to prevent myself from being sober for the next 24 hours. And hopefully I will see you in approximately that amount of time. Yeah, again, here until November 15th, daily shows. Hopefully it makes up for the year and a half of a lack of daily show, but hey, whatever. I would also like to ask people to subscribe to my second YouTube channel, where I speedrun Doom. I will be honest with you, I put a lot more effort into my Doom speedrunning channel than this channel. My Doom speedrunning channel has 1,000 subscribers. This one has 11,000. And honestly, 11,000 is really fucking scary. So I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm over there now playing video games. And I would appreciate it if you would check that out. Even if you don't like Doom, give it a shot. You know, watch a video or two if you want. Or don't, I guess. You don't have to. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm not doing outros anymore. At least right now. Maybe I'll bring back outros. But, it's just gonna be a harsh cut. Check this out.